Recording.
Drew will play it. Back behind that Voracek. And a bus is way in front. We've seen this before. Simmons who scores! Wayne Simmons with the payoff on a beautiful feed from Voracek, and the Flyers lead it 3-2.
Now, Andy Robb, Ken Prell, the Philly Hockey Guys.
The soothing sounds of NHL 94.
Is that what that's from?
Yeah, you can't go wrong. You know what else you can't go wrong with? A 2-goal game for Simmons, a 3-point night for Voracek. Not too bad.
Perfect way to come back from the All-Star break last night.
Oh, absolutely. Welcome to episode number 31, or as we're calling it, the Pelle Lindbergh episode of the Philly Hockey Guys.
Absolutely.
Well, welcome to the show. I'm Andy Robb.
I'm Ken Prell, and yeah, Flyers back at it last night, looking good.
Getting a good win against those Canadiens, and we'll get on that in just a second. But first, got to get a few things out of the way. Follow us on Twitter at Philly Hockey Guy. We're also on Reddit, Flyers, and Facebook as well. And we are knee-deep in our second official contest. So if you haven't entered today, go ahead and enter, and you can win a great prize pack from the show featuring that black uniform Eric Lindros figure.
I've entered. I'm ready to go. I can't wait.
Yeah, I saw your post on our Facebook page. You know, I got to say this much, okay? Even though you're ineligible, I really give you a lot of credit for trying. I give you a lot of credit for the effort that you put in.
Thank you. So that means I won?
No. But I'm throwing you an attaboy, and I'm saying, you know, good for setting that example.
It's a lesson for the kids. Never give up.
For the kids.
Even when you're ineligible, never give up.
Even if they get a restraining order for you saying, stay 500 feet away from me, you keep on going.
Even if you were born in Canada, you can run for president.
That's true. Back to the contest, real simple to enter. Really, all we're trying to do here, Ken and myself, we're just trying to gauge where everybody's listening from. We've been getting a great amount of responses. All you have to do, just hit us up on Reddit, Flyers, anywhere you see us, or on Facebook or on Twitter. Just tell us you want to enter the contest and where you're listening from. You could be listening from New Jersey. You could be in Pennsylvania. You could be all the way in Scotland, like one of our listeners, Burke, who interacts with us on Twitter. He's all the way out in Scotland, listens to the show. Tell us where you are and you're entered. It's that simple.
It really is that easy. So there's no excuses. Just enter already.
And there'll also be not only the Lindros figure, but also some other great prizes, including some stickers, some trading cards, maybe some other goodies thrown in there too.
And if I'm not mistaken, we have a bunch of Ron Hextall cards.
Yes, some Ron Hextall cards from the 80s. We stumbled upon a trove of them, and we're willing to give them away to you.
Pretty sweet.
Absolutely. All right, let's jump right into the action from last night. Those lowly Canadiens. Ugh, I hate talking about them, but hey, we beat them last night. Let's get into it.
Well, of course, as we heard at the top of the show, Wayne Simmons continues to be on fire.
He really put on a show for those Canadian scouts last night, didn't he? Yeah, sure did.
I mean, you understand why the Canadians would want him on their team. I mean, the guy is just incredible.
The price tag is ludicrously high for Wayne Simmons if you're the Montreal Canadiens and you're coming to me. I'll be like,
or any team.
Yeah. You either give us PK, Max Pacioretty, or Carey Price. No? None of those? Okay, see ya. Hang up the phone.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
But the guy embodies Flyers hockey, and just like with Braden Shen, I think he's definitely a part that's going to be fixed into these long-term plans. I still don't see the guy going anywhere, and rightfully so. The guy deserves to be on this team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Simmons, how about the play by Jake to set up that game winner?
How about all the plays by Jake last night? 3-point game, getting some great assists. He's really hit his stride, just like we said last week, as you called it, how Jakey got his groove back.
Absolutely. And you know what? What I loved about Jake last night is PK Subban took a kind of a cross check to Simmons, and Jake went nuts. And it was a nice little scrum, and then somehow only Voracek got the penalty out of it. And
he was going, strange call.
He was going nuts in a penalty box, kicking things. I mean, just that fire you like to see. And then once the Flyers did a great job of killing off that penalty, you could just see the jump in not only his step, but Giroux was fired up out there, as well as Simmons. And then Jake and Simmons, they get together and they get the game winner with just a little over 8 minutes in the game.
I can't believe they put me in the box because I didn't even do anything. And once I get out of the box, I'm going to play very, very well. You watch. I'm going to show you once and for all.
There are always a couple times each season where Jake kind of goes crazy like that.
I love it.
And when that happens, I mean, the crowd at the Wells Fargo Center last night was just going nuts when that happened. So it was great to see.
It's a good point you bring up. It's just like we talked about in the last episode, number 30, the Ilya Bryzgalov episode of the show. Wayne Simmons, I mean, his intensity during that game, it was like I said, you could almost smell the vinegar boiling up in him, and you could feed off that energy and that intensity. And him and Jake really both bring that dynamic to the table, and especially Giroux does too. But I think that like Simmons and Voracek are kind of that driving force that really gets people going.
Yeah, I mean, right now, this is a team right now. It's not a bunch of individual guys going out there and just trying to get stats. And that was on the Reed empty netter at the end of the game. Couturier could have easily just put that in, took the goal for himself, but no, he was unselfish. He lets Reed get the goal. So when you see that kind of stuff, this team is kind of coming together. Will it be enough to get into the playoffs? I'm not really sure, but you know what? This is the most fun I've had watching Flyers hockey in the last couple of years.
You literally took the words out of my mouth. That's pretty much the exact point I was about to bring up, Ken. I was going to say, they seem to really have developed some kind of cohesiveness with each other. They really have been gelling. They're sticking up for each other. They're more accepting of responsibilities. They don't necessarily pass the buck. If they make a mistake, they will own up to it. And I think that with everything else that Hakstol has implemented in with the Flyers, I think it's really heating up at just the right time. I mean, just look at Braden Shen, how he's been playing.
Yeah, Braden Shen with another goal last night. Flyers now are 22, 18, and 8 on the season, 52 points, actually catching Montreal last night in the standings. Still 5 points out of that playoff spot, though.
And we are undefeated without R.J. Umberger.
Yes.
I hope he enjoyed that soft pretzel last night.
Kind of surprised me. Umberger gets the scratch. Finally, I think everybody in Philadelphia has been calling for that for at least a month now. The thing that kind of surprised me was Jim Jackson and Keith Jones talking during the game about how Hakstol wants to give Gagne a chance to kind of prove himself over the next couple weeks. Kind of surprised by that?
Yeah, because it seems like in many ways, especially in the games that he's played and he's actually been made a vital piece of the team, he has proven himself, I would think.
Yeah, you remember he was sent down and then brought back up. I mean, I don't know if I've seen enough out of him that warrants to give him a chance. The guy I want to see given a chance is Wheel.
That was my next question. Again, this guy's taking words out of my mouth all day. That was my next question. What does that mean for Jordan Wheel?
I think I already know what Gagne brings to this team. I don't know what Wheel brings to this team, and why doesn't he get the chance to at least show us?
I'm not even going to comment on that.
Yeah, okay. This time we want you to. But all around, great effort, I think, last night. Going back into the game just a little bit. Of course, Voracek increased his assist total to 31. He's now good enough to make it into the top 10 in the NHL. So, yeah, it looks like that he is kind of starting to hit that stride.
Yeah, remember in the beginning of the season when everybody was worried about Jake Voracek? Like, what happened? Oh, he signed this big contract. That's it. He's a bum. He's a dud. Get rid of him. I knew we shouldn't have signed him. All those comments kind of looking foolish now.
That was a great impression of the Flyers Nation group. Speaking of which, we have more Facebook comments. Maybe, just maybe, Ken, can you cover your ears real quick? Maybe I'll just be doing those in just a little bit. We're going to try to piss him off. Okay, you're good.
What?
No, nothing. Go ahead, uncover your ears.
Huh?
Uncover your ears.
Oh, okay. Now I hear you.
Sorry. I had to take care of something. Just a little one-on-one with the listeners there.
I feel so left out.
It's okay. You'll be clued in soon enough.
Now I'm scared.
I'll just be honest with you. You should be. Don't forget, follow us on Twitter at Philly Hockey Guy. Back to the game. Let's talk about that overrated goalie that we have in Philadelphia. Steve Mason.
Man, unbelievable again last night.
Great performance.
Especially in the first period. Ended up making, 30 saves on 32 shots?
Yep.
So, I mean, right now, you're going to need him because this month is going to be very tough. And with news of Neuwirth being out.
They called up that monster Stolars, though, and that dude's like 6'4", 6'5". I think he's taller than Mason, actually.
He's 6'6". I was just looking.
Oh, there
up.
it is.
Yeah,
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So he is a monster. Actually, AHL All-Star this year. He's playing really well for the Phantoms. 2.45 goals against average, a .915 save percentage. So I'm excited. I hope he gets a chance to play.
When do you think you're going to see Stoley, if at all?
Well, if you look at the Flyers' schedule over the month of February, the Flyers have 14 more games left. They play Thursday night, and then you got the Rangers and then the Capitals Saturday and Sunday. So I got to imagine you see Stolars in one of those games. I just don't know which one.
There's only one person who really knows, and that's Dave Hackstall.
Does he have a comment?
Yeah, I'm not even going to comment on that.
Oh, my God, dude. He's giving me nothing. He's giving us nothing.
I think I would maybe play him against the Rangers because you got a nationally televised game on Sunday. So I don't know if you want to put that much pressure on a rookie goaltender against probably the best team in the league right now.
You mean that best team in the league that we've beaten?
Yes, they'll be looking for some revenge too. So I think that's a very tough spot to put Stolars in. So I think you probably see him against the Rangers on Saturday afternoon.
I'm not going to argue with it. That's a good guess. So maybe we'll see him at some point. I hope so. Love to see what he's been doing and how that translates to the NHL level, especially with this season and how he's been doing with the Phantoms, like you just said earlier. That's really the only thing is just got to hang back and wait because we know that Neuwirth now could be out for just a little bit with an injury that I guess he kind of re-aggravated. I think it was a groin injury that he kind of...
Yeah, I guess he came out for the skate on Monday, the practice skate on Monday, and really didn't last too long out there and ended up heading off the ice. And now we know, 7 to 10 days is what we're being told right now. But you never know with the Flyers and hockey injuries.
That's what the timetable is now. Of course, I'm pretty sure every Flyers fan under the sun knows that, what it means for, Neuwirth being out. But you know what? I think Mason can, he can carry that load. And I think that a great backup is Stolars if he needs to be used. So it's going to be a test. You're absolutely right. It's going to be a real test for the Flyers, especially on the back end coming up over the next few games. But I think that it could work out in their favor, as long as they keep playing like they did last night.
Yeah, and I'm excited to actually see a goalie prospect in this organization. And there's probably 3 other ones, too, that they just drafted last year. So this will be a good challenge for Stolars, I think.
Yeah, all in all, it'll be, a great learning experience, too.
So, yeah, these are going to be some very important games coming up for the Flyers now. 52 points on the year, 5 behind the Pens, as we said a little bit earlier. And next up, you got the Predators.
Yeah, Music City.
We'll get to the All-Star game in just a second, but any thoughts about the Flyers taking on the Preds Thursday night?
It's a game that they can win. It's within their reach.
Way to go out on a ledge there. It's a game they can win. It's a game they could lose, too.
Hey, it's they could win or they could lose. That's what we're looking at here. In-depth analysis. You only get it here on the Philly Hockey Guys podcast.
I predict they will have 2 points. Maybe 1 point, or maybe no points.
They
I'm
might
not
win
sure.
or lose. I sound like O.J. Simpson in those confession tapes on The People versus O.J. Simpson.
You keep telling me how good this show was.
It was really good. There was a part where he was like, did I come back at 7? Or maybe it was 8. Or maybe it was like 9. 7, and like, oh my God. How he got away with that, I have no idea.
All right, well, I'm going to have to check it out. Don't ruin any more for me.
You know how it ends.
Well, I thought maybe he got convicted this time. I don't know.
Space aliens come down with laser guns, and he starts, like, fighting them off. He's like, I'm the juice, mother... Judge Ito shows up with a giant sword, starts killing dragons.
Wow. I'm surprised. It took us a little bit longer than usual to get completely sidetracked on this show.
All right, I'm sorry. But it was good. If you haven't seen it yet, it just premiered like the other night, but it's good.
All right, I'll check it out.
I wasn't talking to you. I'm talking to the audience.
Yeah.
The listener.
Our
listener.
I did take your advice and finally checked out Baskets on FX as well.
Yeah.
With Zach Galifianakis.
You mean with Louis Anderson and a bunch of other people in it.
Now, that is a very bizarre show.
That's a role that deserves an Emmy nomination and win.
Yes.
Louis Anderson on the show Baskets.
I definitely liked your suggestion on that one. So, yeah, I'll check out the OJ show.
Good.
Speaking of good, how about the All-Star game? How great was that?
You remember what we said in the episode before the All-Star game? We said this could be a good benchmark to test what could be the future of the 3-on-3. And holy hell, did it pass that benchmark test with flying colors. Everything about that All-Star weekend was great, and especially the John Scott show.
Yeah, I mean, the first two games, both very highly entertaining, but then that championship game, 1-0.
1-0?
1-0.
Yeah.
The goaltending in that All-Star game, when have you ever seen that in the past?
You know what? To my recollection, I can't even think of it. And it was very engaging. And, if that's what the future of the 3-on-3 holds, I say bring it on, because that was great.
Absolutely the best All-Star game I've watched in any sport, even better in baseball.
Well, the All-Star weekend was also great, too. Nods to PK Subban.
No.
Dressing as Yager.
No.
The
I was all on the
competition.
I was on the PK bandwagon until last night when he pulled that cheap shit on Simmons, giving him a cross check. But no, he was entertaining this past weekend.
And then Burnsy with the Chewbacca mask.
Yeah, did he really need the Chewbacca mask? I mean, that beard already has a life of its own.
But for added effect, I thought that was absolutely perfect. That was great.
I liked on the screen how they kind of went back and like his pictures from each year, how the beard kind of has grown, and then to go to the full Chewbacca mask. That was kind of funny, and it was good. And his kid out there dancing around. After
that was
scoring.
great.
That was awesome too.
I love that. I love that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, all in all, great All-Star weekend. And then, of course, I think the greatest thing ever was Gary Bettman having to present a check for $1 million and a car to the person that they tried to keep out of the All-Star game, John Scott. Now, that, my friends, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, there was a guy who really just enjoyed the moment. The interview with his wife after the game, how grateful she was for the kind of support that the NHL fan base showed John Scott. I mean, all around, it was just a great event this past weekend.
It was a feel-good story.
And there are very few of them these days, so it was nice to see.
God, I wanted to try to make some kind of argument against that, but I've really got nothing. The well's kind of dry. You might be right in that.
And I like John Scott calling out Roenick during the interview, too.
Oh, my God. Now, it wasn't as good as Liam McHugh calling out Milbury.
No.
That was a pretty close second place for that. That was awesome.
And for JR to be a good sport with that, too.
Yeah, as much as I love Roenick, he got him good. And what about when he was laughing at Patrick Kane when they booed him during the intros?
Yes.
You remember that? That was hilarious, too.
So, yeah, congrats to the NHL on a very successful, I think, All-Star weekend.
Looking forward to the next year's, I think. As long as they keep this format, which I think they will, next year's All-Star game is probably going to be just as good, if not better. All right, let's see. What else? Don't forget, follow us on Twitter at Philly Hockey Guy. We're on Reddit and Facebook as well, so check us out today. So another thing that we need to talk about also kind of affects the Flyers is discipline from the NHL. And I think it's time that we go to court. What do you think of this?
Is this the night court theme?
You bet your ass it is.
See, I thought you were going to go with, like, People's Court.
No. It's all about night court, man.
A very underrated show.
So let's talk about what's going on in supplemental discipline land in the NHL. Dennis Weidman suspended 20 games by the league for that hit on that official, that cross-check. What are your thoughts on it? Wait.
Can we bring Bo in?
Can we bring them all in?
Yeah. I'm sure they're not doing much. The Weidman hit, yeah, I mean, absolutely. You kind of, that was a big old cross check. I guess the rule book says that he has to get 20 games. I would have liked to have seen him probably sit out the rest of the season.
He probably would if he was playing for the Flyers.
Yes, definitely.
Most likely. But then we go to the other side as we do the NHL night court. Radko Gudas. Well, let's talk about that for 1 second. Hang on. Okay. So anyway, absolutely ridiculous. So Radko Gudas not facing any additional discipline for that clipping hit from that Montreal game the other day.
Well, one, it shouldn't have been a penalty to begin with. The penalty was called 5 minutes later. So I'm glad the NHL actually did something right here and not actually suspend or add any further disciplinary actions on Gudas, because it certainly wasn't warranted of the 5-minute penalty and the game misconduct. Any more, it would have been really ridiculous.
Sure, absolutely. You'll get no argument from me on that. And, wasn't a good thing to take that, that 5-minute penalty. But, they did it. They pulled it out. They killed it off. But, yeah, I'm glad that there hasn't been anything additional in terms of Radko Gudas. I figured because he's a Flyers player, they probably would have given him a game or something. But, hey, pleasantly surprised.
Maybe things are changing.
All right, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. This has been a productive podcast so far. I think we're just about ready to wrap things up. And, hey, hang on a second. Do you hear that right now?
Hear what?
What are you, out of your mind? Shoot me! You don't know what the hell you're doing!
That's right. It's time for rage-inducing Facebook comments on the Philly Hockey Guys podcast.
That's right, gang. Once again, welcome to a short version of rage-inducing Facebook comments.
Why? I was enjoying the show. Everything was going good. I was happy about the win the other night.
I'm still enjoying it, and I think everyone else is still enjoying it. You just won't. Let's jump right into it. Let's go to our favorite group on Facebook, Flyers Nation. This one comes from Anthony. Anthony says this, Ken, quote, he says, "This is why I don't like Giroux as a captain. He isn't an effing leader. Listen to him after the game, what he says."
What?
He goes on to say, "Truth hurts. Are you a Giroux fan? Wake up. It should be Simmons as the captain."
Look, I love Simmons, and, I think he could probably be a great captain, but to say what did Giroux say after the game? Listen to what he said after the game. What does that mean?
The way that he answers questions, I guess, or I don't know. But he's blaming his interaction, I guess, with the media and interviews on the whole basis that he shouldn't be a captain.
Hey, Anthony, you're an effing moron.
Wow. Moving on. Tim says this. He says, this was from a few days ago. He says, "Good win last night, but Flyers will not make the playoffs. Say what you want, but I'm a realist."
All right, you're not going to like this one.
Uh-oh.
I actually kind of agree with Tim. I mean, seriously, it's going to be very tough for this team to get into playoffs. They have a very, hard schedule coming up, a lot of games to play. So, Tim's comment actually makes a little sense to me.
Why are you angry?
You got to pick better comments.
Jeffrey says on the official Philadelphia Flyers Facebook page, "It's time for our captain to step up and set an example and lead this team during meaningful games."
All right, now that one's going to tick me off
because
Giroux absolutely does that. He shows up every night. He's one of the best players in the league. I mean, what more do you want out of the captain at this point? See, it's fans like that really get me absolutely just enraged because you don't know you don't know hockey at that point.
Okay, calm down.
Just stop watching.
All right, let's go to Scott. I forget what page Scott posted this on, but he says this, quote, "And this is why I am not a Hackstall fan."
All right, just stop. No. Stop right there, because how could you not be a fan of Dave Hackstall at this point in the season?
Are you out of your mind?
I mean, it is absolutely it's insanity to come up with a comment like that. There's more to Scott's idiotic comment.
Yes.
All right.
He goes on to say, I'm going to start the quote over. He says, "And this is why I'm not a Hackstall fan. Neuwirth was amazing, and Mason is in goal tonight. Neuwirth is clearly the better goalie this season."
Look, all right, I understand all the love for Neuwirth. I get it. But let's be honest. Look at this guy's career. He is a career backup. If you look at the amount of shots and the defense in front of Mason, Mason's been spectacular this season.
Does that piss you off to see
It does. And the question Hackstall on, yeah. No more, please.
Are you all right?
No, because come on, Scott. Get a brain.
Calm down. Actually, no, don't calm down. So you asked me if this one's over yet?
Yeah, yes, please.
It's not.
Oh.
Jerome says this one. Are you ready for this one? I gotta. Whew. Okay.
All right.
Here he says, and I quote, losing, and the word tanking is in parentheses, last year got us Provorov. Not too shabby. Bandwagon teams win, by the way.
First of all, the Flyers didn't tank last season. They were just not a good team.
According to Jerome, we did. We tanked to get Provorov.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was great that the Flyers ended up with Provorov after last season, but the Flyers didn't tank last season. The Flyers will never tank. Ed Snyder will never allow that to happen. And what does bandwagon teams win mean?
I don't know. That's all it says at the end. It says bandwagon teams win, by the way.
I don't get what.
I don't know what that means either.
I think I feel an aneurysm developing in my brain.
What's wrong with you?
Oh.
Are you starting to smell burnt toast?
I think so.
Are you mad?
Oh my! There's this pain right behind my eye. This isn't good.
And if we didn't have enough space for forwards on the team, somebody asked the question, now that Brandon Prust, of all people, is on waivers, do we go after him and claim him?
No.
How much sense does that make?
None. Why?
Wheels barely even played.
Yeah, so you're just bringing in another guy to, what, go sit in the press box?
Apparently.
Maybe it'll keep Wheel company. I don't know.
Flyer fans, some Flyer fans actually think we should get Brandon Prust, which is just...
Well, it's typical of Philadelphia sports fans in general. Whenever anybody gets released or is out there or somebody to be had, all of a sudden we want to go out and get them.
Just like Vincent LeCavalier.
Yes, like LeCavalier, like anybody, who comes in. It just this is where the Philadelphia fan sometimes just drives me absolutely nuts.
All right, I'm looking out for you. We'll wrap this one up. But don't forget, if you find any other comments on social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and it makes your blood boil and you want me to read it to Ken, tweet it to us at Philly Hockey Guy. Send it to us on Reddit, on Facebook, all that stuff.
You really don't have to.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
All right, well, we got a game tonight, Nashville, 8 o'clock.
Music City.
You were very non-committal earlier, saying that you think they could win this one.
I think they could, or they might
Right.
not.
So give me a prediction. Give me a score.
4-3 Flyers.
4-3 Flyers.
In regulation.
Okay. All right, and Mason's getting the start tonight, right?
Oh, wait, Mason starting?
Yes.
16-0 Predators.
Yes, because Mason sucks.
That's right.
We know that now. I'm going to go Flyers win this one 3-1. I look for a good game out of Mason tonight. He continues his good play.
Cool.
So I guess that'll do it for us.
I think so.
All right.
Don't forget, our contest is still open. Enter anytime, and we don't really have a window on when it's closing. Submission period's open. It'll stay open for a while. So just tell us where you're listening from, and you want in on it, and you're automatically entered in the contest to win that Lindros figure with all that other stuff we're going to give you.
Yep, enter today. All right, for Andy Robb, I'm Ken Prell. We are the Philly Hockey Guys. Let's go Flyers.
Yeah, see ya.